What's really between you and your next million? This is the question of the hour. Why might you not actually want the thing you say you want? You will find out here today, baby. Hello, and welcome to this episode of She's Iconic. And do we have an icon on here today? Oh, this is going to be a spicy conversation with my girl, Christine. I met her at a mastermind that we were a part of, and we connected in person at a live event. And I just sat down with her and I'm like, this is my girl. Instantly, our conversation just got into so much depth and juiciness. You know, when you sit down with that one person and you're like, we're talking about things that actually matter, like those deep combos. That is exactly what happened with Christine, a high performance psychic nervous system specialist and author of her new book called The Ferrari Frequency. What's really between you and your next million? You will find out here today, baby. And her work helps high-performing entrepreneurs uncover the hidden survival patterns running beneath the surface so that they can finally stop self-sabotaging and create success from regulation instead of survival. So today we're going to dive into her new book and the concept of $1 million nervous system, the hidden patterns that keep people circling the same level. And this is going to be one of the most powerful and potent conversations with powerful questions. This is the question of the hour. Why might you not actually want the thing you say you want? So let's get into it, baby. Christine, oh my God, thank you for being here, lovey dove. Before we get into the book, I want you to tell us about your journey. How did you become the woman that people call when they can't figure out what is blocking their next level?
Well, hello everybody. I'm so fucking excited.
Yes, baby.
Oh my God. It's so long since I've seen you and squeezed you in real life.
I know.
How did I become that woman? Oh, fuck. Good. Dial the universe and ask that mofo up there, like, what the fuck? I have no idea. No, I do. I'm joking. But honestly, I could have never planned this. If you'd gone back like 10 years ago, I was living on government assistance. I just founded my first business, a boutique fitness studio. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no business opening a business. Like, let's just be real. I had no business experience. I had no accounting experience. I had no anything. It was like universal guidance. Woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning after my life was chaos. I just got married. My ex-husband, he's doing much better now, but he was struggling with drug addiction back then. And my life was in shambles. I had no sense of direction, purpose. I was wandering through careers. I went into engineering recruitment.
Wow.
I know. Fun fact. I did the makeup industry, massage therapy. Like I tried everything, nothing fit. And so I was like, I'm going to be a big girl and go get a big girl job because that's what big girls do. And like, I need to start getting my shit together and being proper and whatever else fucking conditioning that I had.
Yeah.
And then I left that job and I started working in a fitness studio because my life was crumbling. Like the life I had so consciously created was crumbling everywhere. And I had no control anymore. And I ended up my ex-husband was like, would you ever want to open your own fitness studio? This is about 6 months into teaching group fitness. And by the way, the first time I taught a group fitness class, my whole entire body went into like hives, like crazy red chest, because I had to be in front of like 8 people. And like I was leading and I felt so much imposter syndrome. And like, I haven't taken a kinesiology degree. Who am I to teach group fitness? And it's funny now because now I'm speaking in front of stages in front of like hundreds and hundreds of like very successful entrepreneurs. So it's just kind of funny how life, brings it full circle. But I founded a fitness studio. It was absolute chaos. Like I said, 10 years ago, I was living on government assistance. I found out I was pregnant 2 months after the gym opened. My business partner left. We had a huge rupture. It was a best friend. My ex was off using drugs and at the time, and I was like living in a 400 square foot apartment with my French bulldog pot roast. And I was like, holy fuck. How am I going to make this through this? Like, how am I going to do this? And can I afford diapers? And like some very real things. I had 21 employees. I had no idea how to run a business. And so I was like just drowning. And she ended up coming 6 weeks early. So my journey was not easy. This was not like a layup, like, oh, okay, here's all this business experience and here's all this money. And just like, follow these steps. It was trial and error, chaos, having my body almost break down. I was running so hard in masculine energy. I was like my to-do list. I was drowning. I had no idea how to like delegate to other people. I was fawning. I was in people-pleasing patterns. My staff run like they run all over me. I couldn't hold a boundary to save my life. Like it was chaos. So my survival patterns, my codependency, all my old, growing up, uh, it was running my business. And I was in 2018, I had a full-blown, like I was having panic attacks. I started the year with adrenal fatigue and pneumonia and ear infections, and I got shingles. Like who's in their 30s and gets fucking shingles? It was like turbo stress. So that whole journey, like I couldn't drive, I couldn't teach. Like the universe was like, bitch, if you don't stop, I will take you out. A tree fell on me. Like a tree branch, like a 20-foot tree branch fell on me and smashed me to the ground like on a beautiful August day, sunny, no wind, literally cracked and smacked me. And I remember thinking like, if I don't change my life, I will die. Like I'm going to get taken out. So I ended up diving into personal development. My ex and I split up, and I realized I had to change my relationship with money because I had a terrible relationship with money growing up. And so I started diving into like money work, personal development. It took me on this journey. I found Melanie on Layer, and I jumped into her world in 2020. And it was like this light and like beacon. And I was like, what? People make this kind of money? What is happening? So I started coaching. Sorry, I'll rewind. In 2018, I got the intuitive hit to start running retreats and to be a coach. And I remember thinking, like, you're such a bad business owner. Like, why do you already want to change careers? And I found out I'm a manifestor in human design. So I'm like really not designed. I'm designed to like start shit, fire shit, but like pass it off. And so I dove into that world, and I did a lot of healing with money and business and myself and leadership and emotional intelligence. And at this point I was doing some coaching already, and I was very intuitive, and I knew I had some gifts, but I started making money. Like I had my first 10K month, 20K month, 30K month, 40K month, but I couldn't hold it. I bled all the money out. So I literally, like, as soon as it came in, I was so dysregulated. I didn't know at the time it was dysregulation. I just felt anxiety. I felt jumpy. I felt almost like skittish. Like I had all these really interesting physical symptoms. And I remember asking my mentors at the time, like, what is this? And they were like, oh, it's just like a mindset thing. Like, it'll be fine. And just like, it was like a very, like, just, it's just, you just need like discipline. And let's create more of a schedule. And like, anyways. So I like blessed, but like I was super dysregulated because it was completely against my identity, right? Like my whole, like I saw myself as disgusting and gross and like a failure and like incapable and all these pieces. So there was still some identity pieces locked and loaded in place. So I just continued to dive in, and I put myself in all the top rooms. I invested over $600,000 in personal development, looking for the answer of why I couldn't, like I would have success. And then I'd need to like literally almost have like a hangover from business for like a month. So I would have like a big launch, and then I would crash and need to like binge Netflix for like a month and a half. Or I would make a bunch of money, and then I'd be like, okay, like now I've made 40K. Now I need to lean back, and I just need to cruise for months now. But then there's like the feast or famine cycle. It was a roller coaster cycle. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And what's wrong with me? And why can't I sustain my business? And why am I feeling this way? And why am I feeling so out of control when like I technically have money, but I still feel all over the place? And put myself in all these top rooms and was investing so much money. And, I tried literally everything you can imagine, and nothing stuck and nothing worked. I still hid. I wasn't visible. There was all these blocks, and I knew I wanted to speak on stages, and I knew I wanted to write a book. And, I was sitting on a book and a podcast since 2017. Like my good friend Mark Gross, he put me in touch with a book editor from New York in 2017. And she was like, I love your work. This is incredible. Ghosted her. Like never got back, never followed through. And so there was all of these incredible, and that happened so many times. There's all these opportunities. And I was just like, it's just not the time. I'm too overwhelmed. And like, I look at all of that, and I look at what was happening in rooms, and like the mentor would pop off. And this is like the longest story. I'll land the plane, but the mentor would pop off, and a few people would pop off, and then majority of the people were stuck. And so I watched this in rooms, and I watched it with myself, and I was like, what is this? none of what I'm seeing is like, it's the same stuff in every room. And it's not a lack of talent, and it's not a lack of brilliance, and it's like they're brilliant. They have such the biggest hearts on the planet. And for me, I called it living hell. It was a living hell on earth, knowing that I had gifts. I had a genuine like wanting to help people, a desire for that. This wasn't about the money for me. Like, of course, that's a nice bonus, but I genuinely knew in my heart, like, I want to help as many people as possible. And I literally can't step towards it. Every time I do, I want to focus on my website or shit that doesn't matter, or I need to do laundry, or like, it just, my brain would completely take me somewhere else that wasn't relevant, that wasn't sales, that wasn't going to make an impact. And so I finally, and also nothing like really worked on me. Like, I had such a hard time connecting with emotions. I did a bit of like traditional trauma work, and I hated it. I found the world was just so like, it was just so like Debbie Downer. I was like, okay, this is either like I want to make millions, or I'm in a trauma spiral and I'm just doing inner child work and shadow work, and I'm like circling the healing world. And I was like, there's got to be a different way. There's got to be a bridge. And so I started just with my own, I realized I had so much trauma, right? Just from my past and from childhood and being bullied as a kid and humiliated by friends and all these different pieces. And then obviously a bunch of trauma from teenage years and from being in really unhealthy relationships my whole life. And I was with addicts a lot of my life. And so I just had so much survival energy, stress hormones, and trauma sitting in my body. And I didn't recognize it as trauma because I thought of trauma as like, a victim of war or sexual assault, or, like these big like things that had happened. I was like,
Super
I don't have
sneaky.
trauma. Yeah. Like, what is
So
this? And
sneaky.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
And so I
Mhm.
started going and working. I started diving in a little deeper because I noticed some things. I'm like, I'm a psychopath. Like, I have to go all the way. I couldn't stop. Like, I almost felt like I couldn't teach things because I'm like, this isn't it, because it's not totally
Mhm.
working for me yet. So I feel like a bit of a fraud teaching this, like just mindset work or just some of these pieces, because like, and that could be a shadow of the manifestor, the one for manifestor, because we need to keep going and going. But I'm glad I did, because I started
I knew it. I knew it. I just was going to ask you, what are your lines in human design?
the
I'm
1-3.
also a 1-3.
Stop.
I'm a 1-3. I was like, you're talking about
You're
exactly the
talking to
things.
my
Go down the rabbit
language,
hole
baby.
of all of
You're
it. So, but
talking my
I'm a
language. You're
projector.
talking my
So,
language. Yeah. So I just realized, I
yeah.
started working with, I started noticing actually themes. So because something worked for me, I created my own method. And when I
Yeah.
first created it years ago, it was called the relaxed, rich, regulated method. But I've changed it now to obviously the $1 million nervous system method. But what
Mhm.
I saw happening in clients, like, I don't know how I started working with founders. I was working with really successful people, and all of a sudden they just kept referring people and referring me these big names and these massive people, and like personal development, like quote unquote celebrities. People were coming to me and I was helping them. And what I kept seeing in my one-to-one work with them was I would just take them into the same process that I did on myself, into the
Mhm.
body, speaking to the body, completing sentences, like letting their body lead. And I noticed the more we went in, co-regulation, we went in and they started releasing energy and, emoting and having releases. I'd get phone calls or text messages being like, Christine, you wouldn't fucking believe what just happened. Just had a 50K day. This massive opportunity to go speak on stage has happened. And I'm like, what is happening? So I hired trauma specialists, nervous system specialists, and people to say, can you explain the science to me about why people are having such insane success when we're doing this work? And so, of course, they're explaining from the scientific perspective. And I'm like, oh, damn. Oh my God. When you're clearing old energy from the body and survival loops, instantly life force energy ushers in. It's like this instant process. So I love it and people love it because when they come in my world, it's not more. I'm not like, okay, come in, I'm going to layer a bunch of information and we're going to like mentally masturbate about a bunch of concepts. And then I'm going to give you 8,000, it'll be a 7-hour call. And then you're going to get 14 hours of homework and then, have fun with that. Like, I want fast, I want efficient, I want precision. And so when people come in, like I had a founder come in the other day, multi-7-figure founder, and she just sat down and you could tell she was exhausted. And I was like, I don't want you to say a fucking thing. And she just looked at me and she just like exhaled, and I was like, I'm gonna read your energy. I'm gonna take you into your body. We're gonna clear shit. I don't want you to I don't want you to effort. I want you to like literally just, and you could watch her body language, like, because right now there's just so much excess. It's just more. Founders and high performance humans are fucking busy. We have so much shit. We have kids, we have other businesses, we have relationships, we got fucking drop off, we got camps, we got like all sorts of shit. We don't have time to sit around and like try to figure it out. So that's why when I created my book, even with my coaching, my certification, right now I'm doing the $1 Million Nervous System installation for entrepreneurs. I'm like, fast, quick, efficient, like right to the fucking, because I spent 10 years dialing this shit in, we get there right away. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to talk about identity. I don't want to do anything, because if you're layering concepts on top of a nervous system and a body that is carrying excess trauma, which, plot twist, every single conscious entrepreneur, change maker, world, leader has, because we have been through the most to set us up for the greatest success in our businesses and to be these embodied leaders. We have to go through the most. We have to be the ones to have hot mess express, dumpster fires, hell on earth, because we know what it feels like, so we can relate to people in such a deep, rich way. Plus, we're just the most embodied people to lead. So we have been through the most. When I recognize that, I'm like, oh shit, we have the craziest stories, because nobody wants to sit around on a stage and listen to somebody who's like, life was great, and then it was awesome, and then I was handed this like golden goose, and then everything was awesome. People want the like, I was all, I barely made it, and I was hitting bankruptcy, and then, everything got ruined again, and then there was a massive flood, and then I made it, right? Like, we want that. We fucking eat it up. I love it. But the only thing I want to read is about somebody who's been through a lot and come out the other side. And so those are the people who I'm totally invested in helping right now, because they're the ones we're going to shift the planet. Like, we need this. We need, like, I want to install millions of $1 million nervous systems into conscious entrepreneurs and leaders and high performance founders, because we need our magic, and it ripples everywhere. And when you do this work, I say to people all the time, it like 10x's, 100x's every other fucking mastermind, every other certification, every other mentor, everything you've done. This isn't like one more thing. It's like the missing piece that clicks every fucking thing into place.
Absolutely. I was just
Sorry, I'm just like, I went on like a
No,
17-minute fucking tangent there.
I'm going through like the questions that I'm going to ask you, and I'm like, oh, check. You checked that one off. So
Check.
like, you're actually answering the questions that I was going to ask you. But I just have to say how deeply I resonate with you with all of this. It's like, we have to go through the initiation. We have to see how we lead ourselves through these challenging times, right? And there's the layer deeper, the layer deeper, the layer deeper. I feel you on that so much, and that's why I'm so passionate about this work, because I said the same exact thing that you said when I learned this work: nervous system, somatics. This is the missing piece. It is literally the missing piece. And it was so powerful how you shared with your client, the seven-figure business owner who was exhausted. The simplicity of this work, I think, is so powerful, because yes, we are so inundated with noise, the next strategy, be on these calls, all these bonuses, all these things. No, let's strip away what's not. Let's lock and load what is, that precision, right? And look at how you did that on that call where you said, all you need to do right now is fucking exhale. Because you can come to me being overwhelmed and spiral and talk about it. What is that helping when your body actually just had to exhale for a moment? So let's start with the title of this book. And I love you, and I appreciate you for everything you just dove into there. It answered all my questions and more that I had ready for you for the beginning here. But it was beautiful and wonderful. And you explained the patterns that you were seeing over and over for yourself, the delay, the procrastination, the not being able to initiate and do the thing, even though you had the thing going with like, yeah, I want to write my book. She contacted you and you're like, nope, not ready for that. Right? Like ghosting, all of that comes up, the state of freeze, all those things, right? So these hidden patterns underneath were just dictating your outcome, and your outcomes were not that great, right? During that time. So, and you answered my question of when did you realize the nervous system was a missing piece? It is when you went through all of that, when you started observing, being in the room on masterminds, being like, what's going on? These are incredible women. What is that block? So that leads us to the Ferrari frequency. Let's start with this title. It is so fucking fun, by the way. I told you before we hopped on the call, but I was like, I love how you made this deep inner work fucking fun. Like, because it can get very daunting and heavy. And it's like, ooh, we're going to go into your traumas and into this and that and peel back the layers. And it's like, I don't want to go there. You made it so simple and so precise, and it's just your method, right, that you were doing all along, that you just had to give a name to. You just had to put it in a framework, right? You did that in this book. And I told you, I literally read this book as fast as a Ferrari, because I was like, oh wait, I want to go to the next chapter now. Okay, I answered the question for the first chapter. Okay, let's go to the next. And getting to the question of the day, which is like, what makes you not want the success? I had to sit with that one for a very long time. I could not answer that right away, to be completely honest, because I've been doing this deep inner work. So I'm like, but I do want it, right? So that was a really good one. So let's start with the title. What is the Ferrari frequency, and like, why a Ferrari?
I love this. Don't ask me about the Ferrari. So, fuck. It's
What
so
do you love?
funny. When I first saw the cover, I was like,
I
oh my God, I'm so cringe. I was like laughing so hard. I'm like, fuck it.
love it.
And literally the first page says, for every brilliant, for every brilliant mission-led human who knows exactly what they want next, but can't figure out why the fuck they keep hitting the brake. Commit to the cringe and watch your business go boom. I just like had to laugh because I saw the cover. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so cringe. So when I was preparing for a big talk in Wisconsin, it came up again so last minute. Like before, opportunities would come up and I would just stall, or I'd have the emergency brake on. Like I would want to do the talk or I'd want to do something, but there was so much fear, and it wasn't just fear, it was like an actual grabbing of my energy in my body, and it like I actually couldn't. It was like in molasses. Like I couldn't do the thing, or I'd think about it for so long, then I would get into overthinking, and then I would like just ghost it because of the overwhelm, right? Like tasks, like I'd just be like, I can't think about it right now. I'm too busy. I can't. And so when I was preparing for this huge talk that was like, I had like 2.5 weeks to prep, or 3 weeks, and every other person in the talk had like months, like 6 months to prepare. I saw this thing on social media from Nick BG, actually the founder of Oralis magazine, and she posted like, hey, we just had one speaker spot open up. If anyone, like, I'm super picky, but if it's you, message me. And I like fire emoji'd it, and I got in the shower. And then I was like, all I heard was this voice like, what the fuck are you doing? Go put yourself in the fucking game. And I was like,
Oh,
what? So I'm like butt naked. I run over to my phone and I voice note her. It's like, whatever, 40-second voice note. I was like, hey, Nick, I don't know if you're looking for somebody like pretty unhinged, but like I specialize in trauma, the nervous system, and the intersection of high performance. I don't know what kind of speaker you're looking for. Anyways, she gets back to me like right away and she's like, can you hop on a call? I'm like, it could not be Zoom because I'm naked. But yes, I will get on a call right now. Like it's just speed. So I get on a call. We chat about nothing to do with the talk. We literally like just, when you on Step Brothers and they're like, did we just become best friends? Like we were like dying with laughter, being so unhinged. She's like, you're in, let's go. So I'm like, fuck. I just said yes. I had no childcare. My ex was like, I can't take the kids. And I was like, okay, I said yes, something's got to work out.
yeah.
Going to all the storytelling, he gets back to me like 2 hours later and he's like, the weirdest thing happened, plans changed and you can go. And I was like, fuck yeah. So anyways, I had 2.5 or 3 weeks to create slides. I'm speaking in front of hundreds of entrepreneurs. I get the list of who's going to be talking there. I remember this moment in the bath. I'm sitting there and I get the like list, and it's like Jordan Cheyenne and like manifestation expert. There's like all of these huge, the Millionaire Mother and Cassandra Britton. There's like these really big speakers. And then it's like, we get the actual full itinerary and it's like opening panel, Jen Gottlieb, Christine Banno. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I'm going after Jen Gottlieb, like the keynote speaker of keynote speakers of keynote speakers, who teaches everyone how to keynote. It was like my first big talk. And I'm like, okay, sink or swim, speed, precision. Can I do this? Anyways, I had a bit of a little like mini meltdown for like 2 seconds. And I was like, you fucking got this, sink or swim, let's go. And when I was trying to prepare the slides, I will end the plane on this, I promise. When I was going to prepare the slides, I was trying to get everything perfect. I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? I've got to nail this. How is a good keynote? I was like YouTubing keynotes and like all these different things. And the more I did that, my whole body and my whole energy just started like siphoning out. Like it was terrible. And finally at the 11th hour, I'm saying probably 4 days before I had to fly out, or 3 days before I had to fly out, I got stuck in Montreal with my mom. We flew out to Florida and I got stuck in Montreal. And At 11, like 47 p.m., the whole entire talk came through. It channeled through, and it was like, you're a fucking Ferrari. And it was like, Christine Banno, you do not, people, stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to get it fucking right. You are so unhinged. People love you because you're cringy as fuck. You swear like a sailor. You're just, you never know what to expect with you. And you have to go teach it like a live masterclass. Get in the fucking room with them. People don't need one more speaker being like, hey, everybody, and like super performative and like, all right, everybody, this is what you're going to do. And like, la, 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 like people have enough of that. Go deep, get the fuck in there, share your story. Don't hold anything back. Like get in there with them. Give them a speech that is a transformation and a transmission and integration on the spot. People don't need more, they need integration. They need to like effortless. And so I was like, oh, fuck. And it's like, my sister said to me one time, she's like, you're like the Mentos to Coke, people's Coke. Like you drop a Mentos in and you go boom. So she's like, that's what you do for people's businesses. And it's through the lens of trauma and the nervous system because you just help them clear that energy super fucking quick. So the analogy came through as this download, and it was like, talk to them. You're a fucking Ferrari. You're a high performance vehicle. You're sexy as fuck. Like the problem is that you're driving this high performance vehicle with the gas and the brake on. So you look like a fucking spaz. You're like, because you want the thing you want, right? This is what's circling back to that thing that you had to ponder on. When I say the gas and the brake, the gas is like your soul. It's why you want what you want. There's very obvious reasons. You want money, you want impact, you want to, fly first class, you want to go to tropical islands, whatever. You want to buy a farm and like live with horses, whatever. You want to send your kids to private school. There's all sorts of shit that why we want. We want to give back, all these things. That's a very obvious, that's not hard. Any manifestation person can teach you that. But then we all have this part of us, I call it the brake. It's like where your nervous system pulls the emergency brake on, because when you think of what you want, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is it going to require of us? Who are we going to have to become? Right? What is that going to cost us? What's going to change? Right? So for me, for example, I wanted to speak on stages. I wanted to write a book. I wanted to have global impact. Okay. Well, that's like me sitting in my Ferrari, taking out my phone, putting into the GPS of the Ferrari. I'm saying destination, global stages, impacting, millions of people, blah, blah, blah. Money. Okay, great. Does the math, calculates the math on your vision. Oh, It says, checks the data files in your past essentially, and it says, what do I know about this subject and who you'd have to become? Well, you'd have to be visible, ultra visible. You'd have to be people would have to know you. You'd have to be very vulnerable. What do I know about large groups of women? What do I know about trusting people? What do I know about if you want to get to that large, you're going to have to hire a team. What data do I have on running a team? Well, I know what it's like to run a team of 21 employees while I'm drowning in government assistance, living with an addict husband. I know that. It knows how, the rupture with my best friend, a business partner. It knows humiliation, bullying as a kid. So because all of that, it's not that happened, it's that the energy that it produced, the survival hormones, the stress and the cortisol and the adrenaline and all of those stress hormones that get pumped into our body when something hard happens, overwhelming happens, because I hadn't cleared the cache, it's in the book, I hadn't cleared the cookies, I hadn't cleared the energy from my body. Every time I put my destination into my GPS, it was still calculating all of those experiences as real and alive and in the now, because the body is always in the present moment. It's always in the now. So there's no concept of time. So it's all sitting there. And so it's all really happening right now. So I was clogged, I was full. And so it says, well, Christine, I love that for you. However, that's extremely unsafe, very dangerous. You are already overwhelmed. You already have 8,222 unread emails. You're already feeling like you're not present with your kids right now. You already are like rushing from place to place. So, yeah, no, we're going to go off-roading. So it's like, yeah, let's start the car. And then you're driving and then you wind up, I want to go to the Caribbean and like Turks and Caicos and the beautiful blue water. And I think I'm driving there. And then I'm actually driving to the Sahara Desert, right? It's like totally different destination. That's the equivalent of, I think I'll create an Oracle deck. that will bring me zero revenue and take me 8 months to build. That's great. I'll sign up for that next other certification that will make me feel like I'm going to be stronger, more powerful, more confident. It'll never happen. It'll just buy me another 9 months of my life, so I won't have to be visible and I won't have to go out and do scary things, right? So it's the reason we want to clear trauma has to do with the nervous system is trauma creates these false alarms, and it's constantly setting up our nervous system falsely saying that's dangerous, this is happening, and also like when you're in survival, and a lot of high performers are, because that's the thing that makes us high performance. I want to show dad or mom that I'm worthy. I want to show my friends from high school that I made it. I will fucking show them. I'll prove it to them. They've had hard past, and so they want to make it. But they find, midlife that they're exhausted and that it actually just doesn't work anymore. Their business doesn't work anymore. They're not happy. They're not connected with their children. They're like, and their system literally shuts them down and says, no more. We're fucking done. And this is where I swoop in and I'm like, I got you. It's going to be fast, quick, fun, efficient. Let's fucking go. So like, I want things fast. The Ferrari is fast. And so anyways, landing the plane, it came from a download and I've just followed it because when I think of trauma, nervous system, I personally used to think very boring. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't sexy. I didn't want to do the work. I just wanted to make millions. And so I was like, how do I make this? This work is the work that makes everything else work. And it is the most important foundational thing we can do. And if we don't do it, we're literally pushing it's like carrying 8,000 rocks in a backpack up the hill. So I'm not having it. So we need to create this sexy analogy. We need to make this fun. Like even on stage, I say, you guys, I don't want to heal. Like, I don't want you to regulate just to heal just for baseline. I want you to be so regulated and so fucking on fire that you want to dysregulate for the plot. Like I want to make trauma and the nervous system and dysregulation so fucking sexy because we're dysregulating because it's choice, it's excitement, right? It's like, what am I capable of? What can I build? How many people can I serve? And so that's my whole thing is like, this is like the secret sauce that makes everything else work, but I want to package it in a way where people want to do it because if you don't, I don't want to spend 30 grand on healing my inner child. Can you feel how like wah wah? It's like no, I'm
That's what I
good.
said in the beginning. I said when I read your book, I'm like, you just made it fucking fun because this shit is deep. It makes you feel things. It can be a very long journey of healing and trying to fix and trying to rewire and all these things. And it can become heavy. But if you can make it fun, if you can see the exact thing that this woman has to go through or bring to the surface to get her to that next level, you see it and it's like, boom, here we go, baby. Like there's no messing around, right? Whereas, a traditional business coach might be like, you need this kind of strategy. You have to do it this way. Like, no, I always say you are the blueprint. You have an iconic woman blueprint within. And part of that blueprint is your nervous system and regulating and rewiring that nervous system so that you can run like a Ferrari. Because like this is the thing is like people think, oh, this is the problem when it's actually so much deeper, right? It's so much deeper. And that's what you bring out in this book. You bring out what that deeper thing is. And then they invite to obviously take it deeper with you. But like, it was so powerful. Just the profound, simple, actionable steps that you take to dissect and really get there. But like, you get there and you get there fast by going through the book, So I love how you did that. And I feel like this is something that now that it just has the verbiage to go along with what is actually happening, right? The analogy you used, it's like, it was so great. It's like you have your foot on the gas and you have it on the brake. It's like, oh my God, there it is. It's that sneaky little survival patterns or being like, oh, remember when you were with that narcissist ex and he told you to dim your light and not shine bright and not talk to the people over there because they think that you're like, they don't want you in the conversation or squash your dreams, right? Whoa. And like all the stuff about even motherhood and feeling like there's just so much, right? There's so many layers, but it's like, whoosh, you go in, it's like, what is a thing? And it's so easily dissectable when you've been doing this work for so long, when you've had these clients where you're like, you couldn't put a name to like what you're actually doing. And now you have a name to it. So it's like, boom, 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 here we go. Right. And that's what you did here in this book. And that's what you take people through. And I just absolutely Absolutely love that. But my most favorite part of the book was the question of why might you not want the thing that you say that you want? So let's really, really talk about that and then we'll close
Yep.
out here because
Yep.
that is such a profound question.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that people don't ask because it's not light and fluffy, right? And like I was in the manifestation world for so long and I was so irritated with myself and so ashamed because I was like, I don't get it. Like act as if, and I wanted, and I was so confused because I'm like, well, other people are manifesting stuff. Where's my stuff? And it's very obvious, you can journal all day why you want something and what you're manifesting, and it's so fun, and create the vision board. But if you don't ask yourself, and it's such a simple question, if you don't ask yourself, why don't I like, and it's not a serious question, it's more of a playful, like, okay, if I was just to like fuck around and find out, I wonder why I might not want that thing. I wonder, and sometimes people are like, I don't know. But when you give these examples, these tangible examples, it makes a lot of sense. Like I ask people all the time, when they're like, I want it. I'm like, great, great. So you want to serve 100 clients and you want to, okay, so great. So right now, what if we hand you all that right now, and right in this moment? What happens? And a lot of people, you can see them a little stunned because all of a sudden their body starts to contract. They feel tight, shortness of breath, all these pieces, because it's like, well, shit. Like if I right now, if they're like, okay, you have everything you want, you have the big, millions and millions of people, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, the way that I'm acting right now, and think like my phone would be blowing up. I'd have emails. I'd have no team. Like right now, I don't have a team infrastructure. I don't have automation set up, like all these things, right? And also, I'm like, I actually really want to spend time with my kids. And like, not to say I can't have it all, but there would have to be more infrastructure and there would have to be some things set up and I would have to shift as a person, right? Like for a lot of people, they're like, I want it. And then we spend this fun game shaming ourselves and getting mad at ourselves that we're like, something's wrong with us. But there's a part of us who doesn't want it because it's like, if it came right now, you're really enjoying your time with your kids. And that's the biggest thing you value. So maybe creating really successful high ticket one-to-one business and intimate retreats and small circles is actually the best thing for you right now. Maybe that's actually what you really, really want. And it's aligned with your values right now. We don't have to go big if we don't want, like whatever that big is for you. But it's looking at like, why might my system see that what I want as dangerous, overwhelming, right? And like, what might it be kicking up from my past? Because for me, I wanted it and I played this game with myself forever and being like, I want it, it's not coming. What's wrong with it? And I was constantly in lack. But deep down, there was a lot of like parts of me I hadn't even gone to that were like, Christine, I'm terrified of being seen. People are going to come after us on the internet. You know what that feels like to have mean girl and hate and coming at you. And because I hadn't cleared this or stored or had the survival energy around that, my capacity was low. So there's a lot of talk right now about building capacity. And it sounds like something you have to do. And it's one more mental thing you have to like figure out. Well, how do I build capacity? And it's like, oh, well, I just need to regulate my nervous system. No, because if you keep regulating, all you're doing a lot of the time, if you don't clear trauma and the stored survival energy, you can keep regulating, but you're always operating at 100% of 70%.
Yeah.
So you're just re-regulating. You might tap or you might do something and you get back to regulation. You meditate, you're regulated again. Great. But guess what? The next time something triggers you or somebody says something or something happens that overwhelms you or somebody does something, the energy is still there. So it becomes a full-time job regulating yourself. I don't have fucking time for that. I want to clear trauma real fucking quick, which is just going into your own body. This is something you can see in the book. I have some processes in there. There's a workbook as well. And obviously I do this work more intimately with people as well in the install, but like you can literally go into your body right now. You could literally go in and close your eyes and be like, why do I not want this thing? Like, why might it be dangerous? Why, if I had this right now, your body speaks to you. Put your hands on your body, speak to your body, ask like, my body could speak right now. What would it say? Like starting to get intimate with the body. The body is the piece that we keep like leaving behind. And it's not just let me just tap and let me dissociate from my body. It's like, The body's like, fuck off. Like, what the hell? Like, our inner child lives in the body. Like, it just wants to be heard. It wants to feel validated and seen. And when we do that work, and we work with the body and we fall back in love with it, all of a sudden the emergency brake lifts off. And all of a sudden we're like, our system's like, you know what? I do want it too. And when you get your mind, your body, your spirit, and your nervous system on board, you're fucking off to the races. You're like, you can't not. Like, I actually, in the book, I talk about the $1 million mission trifecta formula. Because I study this as well, like what makes people pop off and what made me pop off, right? And I look, and when you combine your story, so what you've been through, everything you've been through, and when you do the trauma work, you can remember the story and the wisdom. It's not like that goes, but there's no charge to it, or there's very little charge. So you can talk about your story without getting overwhelmed, or, you know, all those things that happen when you start talking about it. But if you combine your unique story, everything you've been through, don't leave anything out, especially the super cringe or like raw stuff. Your story, your God-given gifts, like what you're so fucking good at, what you can do better than anybody else, what you're obsessed with, like what keeps you up at 3 a.m. For me, I was obsessed with getting to the root of this, right? And if you combine that with your $1 million nervous system, you are fucking like, your business will go boom. There's no way it can't not. But people right now, because they're nervous, because they're dysregulated, because they have trauma, they're copy and pasting other people on the internet because their way of being is approved. It's like, okay, that's great. That works. Let me try this on. And it never works, or it works temporarily, but then they always piece out of the industry or something happens because it's not theirs. It's not their unique lane. The Ferrari needs to stay in their lane, but they're traveling over and being like, I'll take your lane. And then there's all this chaos. And I'm like, no, no, no. When you combine those things, you're the category of one. Like, you're the fucking one to make this thing happen, right? So ask yourself that question. Why might you not want it? And it's playful. It doesn't have to be anything serious. But when you look at what it would cost you and who you'd have to become and what things you'd have to face and what infrastructure you'd have to put in, and, you know, if you're sitting around like eating ho-hos on the couch and you're like, I want to be a leader of millions, it's like, okay, but if that came to you immediately, do you have the leadership? Do you have the boundaries? Because all of a sudden we're like, I want to impact millions of people, but we're sitting there people pleasing and have no boundaries. Well, guess what? We're going to be completely overwhelmed and be in a fucking psych ward if we have millions of people coming at us because we don't know how to say no to things. Right? Yeah. And so, anyways, I'll leave it there.
No, I love that. And I love how you dove into because I mean, nervous system work has become such a buzzword now, and regulation and capacity expanding and all these things. So I love how you beautifully articulated what it actually means. And no, we don't want to just be constantly regulating ourselves without getting to the root, without rewiring, and without doing that constantly every single day, every minute of the day. Catch yourself, be like, nope, not happening. I'm going to rewire to this new identity, right? And that is where I feel like a lot of people get it twisted, thinking, oh, I just have to sit here. I just have to breathe and feel into my body. And then, oh, we're done. No, you need to go there. You need to dissect it. And also, I loved what you said about wanting and desiring the thing that maybe someone else has, their success, the money, the freedom, whatever it might be. But you're a mom who loves to be with her children and also is very ambitious and loves her job. So the thing that is blinding you is the desire of what that person has, but that doesn't mean that you have to fit yourself in the box and do it that way and have, you know, a big mastermind or do this or that. You need to do what works for you and your unique blueprint, your unique nervous system, and go through some of those shadowy parts to be like, okay, actually we need to do these things and titrate and expand our capacity here in order to get that. And also acknowledge what season you're in as well. Because I think those two things, when you look at those two things underneath the hood, right, then you really can decipher, okay, is this a past trauma thing or is this me lying to myself? And I always say, when you get into your nervous system, it allows you to become truthful with yourself. Like actually truthful to yourself. And when you realize how much you've been lying to yourself when it's just like, oh, just facade, I'm just going through life and just keeping myself busy and doing the next thing and next thing and next thing, you realize how much you've been lying to yourself. And that's why it feels heavy.
Yeah. Well, and I think trauma makes us lie to like, trauma is the thing that I would even say distorts who we are. Like, it actually changes the brain. So it's like when we are releasing, if you're sitting here wondering like, how do I release it? A obviously I can come connect with me, but I'm doing right now actually a 5 live workshop series called the $1,000,000 Nervous System Installation. And we just started yesterday and it was fucking incredible. I don't know when this is coming out, but you can either join or you could do, I'm going to be like selling it afterwards, but it's, I did our session yesterday called Clearing the Cache, and it was unbelievable. And I just was like, I don't want anyone to fucking effort. Like, we close our eyes. They got the meditation right after I sent it to them in the audio. And it just, when you just go into your body. So I also believe, I love your piece about identity, because like identity is such a big piece of this. And that's one of my workshops too. But I think trauma keeps the identity intact. So trauma is like the anchor, like the old experiences, the survival energy. I know sometimes the word trauma for people is a little triggering, and they're like, I don't like that word. I want you to think of trauma as just any experience that was overwhelming and a bunch of stress hormones and cortisol and, got pumped into your body, and there was no safe place to process them, or you didn't have a safe witness, you weren't validated, you just had to kind of like keep it to yourself. That's when they get stored. All of that energy just gets stored in the body and starts showing up as trauma. Increases inflammation, right? It increases like stress hormones, cortisol, like all sorts of things start happening, and it actually down regulates. So this is why if you're in a room or a mastermind, or you're working with a mentor, or you're in a certification and you're having a hard time retaining information, trauma down regulates neuroplasticity. So meaning your ability to learn and form new connections. So if you're having a hard time, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that if you think of a gazelle and out in the wild, there's a lion coming at it, and we're like, gazelle, it's just, they put your thinking hat on. Let's learn a bunch of new information. Let's scale our family. Let's scale our business right now to the gazelle. Let's meditate. Let's relax. It's like, you fucking kidding me right now? There's something coming at me. It's not a time to learn. It's not a time to reproduce, to have kids. It's not a time to go out and be optimal, right? It's not an optimal time to do that. So for me, I felt so stupid because I was in rooms and I'm like, I don't really remember the calls. Like, I can't integrate. I don't remember them. I didn't realize that it was downregulating neuroplasticity. So it was way harder to form new neural pathways, which is like the precursor of manifestation, right? Like, it's wild, these things. And I was like, oh my God, and trauma is stored in high definition as well in your brain. So really what I'm doing is I'm taking it from high def to low def, and which I love. I worked with a mentor, Dr. John Wood, and he was fantastic. Like, teach me all about this. But like, you go into low definition, and then all of a sudden you can still recount the story. You still have the memory and the wisdom from it. You extract the wisdom, but there's not that. And trauma, I think, really is the piece that, sometimes feels like it's hard to change an identity, or it's like you're trying to change behaviors, but you keep reverting back. It's just a lot of the old energy you're pushing against. And so when you go into your body and you start clearing it, 'cause a lot of times people are like, well, how do I do it? And I'm like, there's a process, but you can read, some of it in the book and go deeper. But just clearing the energy from the body makes it so that you don't have to even try to change your identity. You just start changing it. You don't have to try to think about how to do something. It just happens. Like, when I reflect back, I'm like, how did I get here? How did I write a fucking #1 bestseller in 6 categories, an international bestseller I wrote this 3 fucking weeks and had it published and was a bestseller in 3 weeks. Like, that's the speed.
Ask you, how long did it take you to write it? Not very long at all. Fast as a Ferrari.
This is 3 weeks. It was in Puerto Rico. Me and Jess almost saw 2 people drown, father and son drown. And it was this moment that just said, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if there's people drowning out there, I know it sounds dramatic, but like, people need us. If you're listening to this, you're a conscious entrepreneur, you're a fucking powerhouse, you're a Ferrari. They need us. They need our medicine. Right. And so if I sat on the Ritz-Carlton where I was and like sat in the chairs and looked out and was like, am I qualified? Does my hair look good enough? She looks better. I think she's more qualified. I think she should be the one to go save them. Right. I took action. We fucking moved so fast. And afterwards I had this massive big cry, and I was like, this is what we're equivalent of what we're doing. We're sitting here on gold and medicine, judging ourselves and all these pieces. And again, when I say judging ourselves, whenever it comes to self-sabotage, judging ourselves, or any of these, like, we're doing it, we're not doing it. It's not us actively choosing this. It's just old energy that's literally doing the math, calculating it, and making things hard for us because it just loves us so much. It doesn't want us to go out and create more chaos, more pain. So that's why, to create capacity, when we clear trauma, we instantly create capacity. We don't have to try to create capacity. It's like when that energy moves up and out of the body and it processes and then integrates, it instantly creates space. It instantly creates life force energy. We have capacity instantly. So then we can go along. Some asshat on the internet says, you're a fucking loser. And we're like, whatever. Like it doesn't bother us because it's not pinging on 17 triggers from our past while the energy's just sitting there, and then we explode on them and we're like, I can't do this, I'm overwhelmed, right? It's not that. It's just that it creates all this capacity. So, okay, I'm going to shut up because I could literally just fucking
I love it.
go
I love
on
you.
and on
I
and
feel like
on and
we
on
got
and on and
4
on. But I got a client.
podcasts
Fuck, I got to run. I got to fucking one of my clients.
I know.
But I just thank you so much for letting me just like riff today and share with your audience. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. You're such a badass. You're such a powerhouse. You're doing amazing things in the world, and I'm just so grateful you asked me to come on here.
Well, I'm so grateful for you as well. And when I sat next to you on that patio on that gorgeous sunny day, and we were just like all cozy and intimate and just chilling, like meeting for the first time, I was just like, this is my woman. Like my heart just expanded. We were so open, so vulnerable with each other. And I said, I have to get her on here. I have to support her in this beautiful book that she launched, in the beauty of the work that you do, because I do deeply feel so passionate about it. It is the missing piece. And I love everything that you shared today, every part of your story, every little nugget that someone's going to take and be like, whoa, this right here. And then they're going to go ahead and be like, boom, I need to hire her. Or because I'm incredible dissecting these things, because we're both deeply intuitive and just so passionate about this work. And we just need more women connecting to their truest selves. And this is how we do it. We need more women getting themselves out there into the world, sharing their gifts, because yes, there are people drowning. And yes, time is of the essence. So do it and be fast like a fucking Ferrari. Let's fucking go. So on that note, let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh, love you. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank
Love
you
you,
so much,
Deb.
everybody, for listening. I can't wait to connect. So good.